This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Hi, welcome to Diversity Dispatch, your local queer and rainbow podcast. Hi everyone, hello, how are we? Yet another week of doing this. I've had a very eventful last couple weeks. A lot of, how do I put this? Not a lot has happened, but, emotionally. I don't know. I've been struggling with mental health a bit more in the last couple of weeks, just very, very stressed. Just a bit of a struggle. But I'm getting better. I'm slowly improving. Once again, I don't have a plan for the episode, as always. I can probably stop saying that every time now. You can just assume that I don't have anything planned. But I'll start off as I usually do with talking about my week until I think of something to talk about. 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago. We did the drag episodes, we did this, and then not a lot happened. I went out for drinks. I went clubbing for the first time. That was fun. Or was this last week? I don't remember anymore. I went clubbing for the first time, and that was cool. I did enjoy the time with a couple friends. Had some not-so-fun stuff happen with other people that we didn't know, but we left pretty soon after that and just had a good time. I got food poisoning. That was pretty cool. It wasn't that cool. I didn't enjoy that. Yesterday, I went to the doctor's and picked up. I was getting my usual testosterone injection, right? And I went to the pharmacy to pick it up, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have it." And I was like, "What the heck? Why don't you have it? I sent in the script a month or two ago." And they're like, "Yeah, no, you have to ring us in the morning to get your script made up." And I'm like, okay, I've been on antidepressants and I've been getting my testosterone for a while, and never have I ever had to ring for a fresh script. Refills, for sure, absolutely. Refills, I'll ring in and get them to make it up. But, they didn't make up the original script. And I had my nurse appointment in 5 minutes to go and actually get it injected. So I had to go in there and say, hey, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to reschedule because the pharmacy didn't make up my script and I don't know why. And after a bit of fussing around, they found a spare vial that they had. So they were able to do my injection. But it was very, very frustrating. Because this is the second time it's happened. Last time they just said that they never got my script. So they didn't have it. So I ended up getting an emergency script sent through, and even then they weren't able to make it up because they didn't have any of my Reandrin in stock, which, again, was very frustrating back then. So I don't plan on going back to the same pharmacy, even though it's right next to the doctor's office. I'm going to be switching to my pharmacy where I got my antidepressants, which is sort of near my house. So hopefully they'll actually one of the nurses said that they have a patient that gets their Reandrin sent to the same pharmacy that I'm thinking of switching to. So they've heard good things about that place, so I'll go and get it sent there. But yeah, this freaking pharmacy was like, yeah, no, because it costs so much money to get it sent in. But it's stupid because you're going to have to pay for it every 3 months anyway. So why can't you just get it ready for me for when I'm going to come in and get it? It's stupid. And the guy that was there, the guy recognized me from last time when they had this whole kerfuffle. And I'll admit, I got a little bit aggressive because I was quite frustrated. And when I went in there to ask them to drop off the script to the nurse's office to replace the one that I'd used, I did apologize for getting a bit aggressive because it was... I'm just sick of all this fuss, and as I mentioned, my personal life has been a bit screwed up recently, and I've been very stressed. Not an excuse, but it definitely is an explanation. And I don't think I got, majorly aggressive. I think it was just quite clear that I was very annoyed by the whole situation. But yeah, I did think about, complaining about it to the business, but I can't be bothered. That's just another thing that I have to do. So I'm just going to leave it at that, as not going back there. Yeah. What else has happened? It's my dad's birthday today, so for you guys yesterday, we're going to go out for dinner tonight, which I did completely forget about after getting up, because he'd already left by the time I got up today, so I didn't get to wish him happy birthday earlier, but I'm going to. And yeah, I did ask multiple times if he wanted to like actually go out and do something, but he wasn't worried about it, so we're just gonna go out to the bowling club and get some cheap food, because, you know, we're all struggling. Yeah. So let's find something to talk about, as usual. I don't remember what website I used last time that had an interesting conversation prompt, but we'll find something. I was thinking about just... Actually, probably 2 episodes ago, so like a month ago, I came in thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this song that I like rediscovered it right as I was driving over. I'm going to talk about this song, Rock Lobster by B-52s. It's a very good song. I very much enjoy it. I would recommend checking it out if you haven't heard it. It's very like early punk, and I kind of love it because I forgot it existed. I really loved it when I first discovered it, and then I forgot about it, and then I rediscovered it, and I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. I love it. Why have I not been listening to this? And I thought of that again today when I was driving in, because I was like listening to my songs. In the last 2 weeks, I did get rejected by this guy that I really like, which totally valid reasoning. He's a fair chunk older than me and wasn't into that. But I've been listening to a lot of sad love songs, listening to a lot of that, getting over it, you know how it is. I was like totally prepared for the rejection because I fully expected him to reject me for that exact reason, but it was still like a bit of a bummer getting that like sort of finality of it, because like without confirmation, it's sort of like there's always a chance, you know, like you can't force yourself to get over it without knowing for certain. But yeah, so that was a bit of a bummer, but you know, expected as well. So I'm just sort of cruising and getting through it. But yeah, I was listening to Green Light by Lorde on my way in. She did a new album probably about a month ago, which I only discovered like a couple weeks ago, because I live under a rock, as we all know. Been listening to the new album, or not the new album, a handful of songs that I've happened to come across for other reasons. But yeah, been getting back into music and back into like emotional music, because there's always like the cut like songs that I listen to a lot. But that's sort of like empowering, like girl power sort of music. But yeah, I've been listening to more emotional stuff to sort of help me get through that. And it's been good. It's been nice. Because I do love music. Music without... like I play a couple different instruments just like amateur, and I sing in my own time, and I think I'm a pretty decent singer. But it's nice to get back into it. Yeah, so I'm going to look up conversation topics as usual. I don't need to know what this is the website that had the which scent do you find most soothing. Okay. Because that's the one I was thinking. What is a language you love to listen to even if you don't speak or understand it? Oh. I did start learning Russian because I really love the sound of Russian. But then I fell out of it as well. I also really love Spanish. French, it's sort of like it always seems a bit hoity-toity. This is pure vibes. I'm not saying this is how the language is, but pure vibes. I guess I just sort of associate it with uppity stuff because French is such a, I'm going to say romanticized language without it being romantic in a sense, even though it is like the language of love and all that. I feel like Spanish is more romantic than French. I feel like it rolls off the tongue, whereas there's more like sharp syllables in French. I don't know. I'm just blabbing now. But I started learning Russian, and I was really enjoying it. But I've sort of come to a halt where Duolingo isn't really doing it for me anymore. Not that I've finished the Russian course on Duolingo. They're not explaining like there's only so much you can learn from repetition. Like I can learn the words, but I can't learn sentence structure and everything. And I know that like watching Russian movies with subtitles and stuff like that is supposed to be really good for learning languages and listening to music and stuff. But I just cannot be bothered. But like, I don't know, maybe I'll look into if there's like a class in Dunedin or something that I could actually attend and go and like have homework for and stuff. Because I've been thinking recently that maybe Polytech isn't really for me in terms of like how it's structured, but I also have sort of decided that maybe it's less that and more that I'm not getting the stimulation that I need from the classes, because a lot of the classes I can finish the 2-hour class and all the work in it in the first hour, sometimes the first half hour, which not to say that other people don't need that time frame for the work, but for me it's not enough to stimulate me mentally. So I feel like if I could find a class that is happy to move at my pace, which admittedly can be pretty fast, that would be good. I feel like that's the sort of learning environment that I need, is someone that's willing to, let me set the pace and move with me. Do you remember the first novel you ever read, and if so, what was it? First novel? Okay, so we definitely, like, in primary school, read novels as a class. So, like, we would all sit in a circle while the teacher read it out. So that would have been Holes. Let me see who the author was. But Holes I very much enjoy. What is it? Lewis Sacker. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. Sacker. Lewis Sacker. But anyway, it's a very, very good book. They turned it into a movie. But it's about this kid that's sent off to like a disciplinary camp sort of thing. And it's all about like discovering his family's lost legacy and everything in this old like town that doesn't exist anymore. And they're basically, the premise is that this guy gets sent to, or this kid, this young teen gets sent to this disciplinary camp, and they're all digging holes to look for this buried treasure for the guy that runs the camp. But yeah, very good book. I enjoyed it. I think if I reread it now, it would probably be a little bit samey, but I think I would still enjoy it. Okay, I'm speaking specifically novels, because I did read Harry Potter, the whole series, when I was quite young. I wouldn't call that a novel series. I would call that like a book series. So like my first novel after that sort of thing. Oh, okay, this is probably a bit embarrassing. The Warrior Cats series. I think I definitely did get really into that, and I know that they had novellas published. But I think when I was sort of like coming to the end of my obsession with it, I think I counted how many of their books I'd read, and I think I'd read somewhere around 109 of their books. Which is a lot, but they're all sort of like novel size, and they're published in arcs of 5 generally. And I think I'd read 5 or 6 arcs, so that's like 25 to 30 of the books, and then a lot of them, I don't know, there was a lot. It was a lot. But I did enjoy it. I think it's interesting how they created their whole there was a lot of world building to it, which I did enjoy. And after that, I read the Wings of Fire series. So this is getting to when I was probably about 14 years old, reading Wings of Fire. The first book is dark. I'm pretty sure it was either the first one or the second one. but they cover some pretty heavy topics. And this was something that I actually realised about Warrior Cats as well, is that they cover very, very adult topics, but because it's set from the point of view of animals or fantasy creatures, it's by technicality, it has to be classed as a kid's book, even though they're covering a lot of heavy stuff, which I'm not going to try and list because there was a lot. And some of it probably isn't, because I don't think I have the education to really discuss it properly on public radio. Pretty dark stuff, which I find interesting, that they can go into all this graphic stuff. Like in Warrior Cats and in Wings of Fire, they were describing like a lot of graphic stuff. And that it was just okay for kids to read that because, oh, it's dragons and cats. It's fine. But yeah, yeah. What a world we live in. That's crazy to think about, that I was like, I think I started reading Warrior Cats at about 11 years old when my friend had gotten me onto them. Yeah, intense. But like, this is the sort of stuff that if it was humans being discussed, it would be like, nah, at least R16, probably R18. Yeah, amusing, fun stuff. But yeah, after Wings of Fire, the first like novel I would have read probably would have been Animal Farm by George Orwell. Still probably my favorite book of all time. I recently got a hardcover, or not hardcover, a paperback copy of it, because I really love the book, and I picked out the publisher that I liked the cover of best, and I lent that to a friend. I need to get that back off them because I want to read the book. I need to see if they've finished it, because they hadn't read it before, and it's not only is it an iconic piece of literature following is it 1980? It's 1987 is by George Orwell. That's sort of that inspired. That's where the whole like Big Brother, the deep state, state is watching you sort of stuff came from. Is George Orwell's books about that. But he was a socialist, and he lived in this little country in Europe where it was all socialist and everything. After, I think it was. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it was some kind of Spanish war, or like he'd been touring in Spain or something. But he'd fought in wars, and he was part of the BBC for a while as well, doing media work for them. And yeah, because he originally came from the UK, I believe. But yeah, fascinating stuff. And actually, I'm going to pull up the last line from Animal Farm, because it's sort of haunting. But that's where the whole all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That's where that line comes from. And this last line from the book: the creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which. Because the premise is that animals take over the farm that's run by humans, and they sort of form their own government and everything. And without spoiling too much, it does become corrupt. And so at the end, it's like you can't separate these new tyrannical leaders from the old tyrannical leaders, you know? But yeah, it's obviously it's all like a what's the word? A metaphor for reality, and especially what was happening at the time and everything. Very prevalent today as well, I feel. Yeah, just good stuff. Love books. I love political books. I love books that cover deep topics. I love books that can make me cry. It's kind of stupid, but like to have that sort of emotion invoked from just some words on a page, there's something to be appreciated about that sort of art form. And I don't know, that's something that I find beautiful, that sort of format and that sort of medium can invoke such emotion. I don't know. It could also be that I have a very vivid imagination. So when I'm reading a book, I've sort of got a movie playing in my head almost, which I am very happy about because I feel like it gives me a level of understanding of the world around me that some people don't achieve necessarily. Not to say that it isn't common, but like, I don't know. It's just something I appreciate, a little thing to appreciate. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next prompt because I've sort of run out of things to talk about on that topic. Sorry for the silence. What is something you have accomplished as an adult that your younger self would be proud of? Oh, geez. I don't know about exactly adulthood, but when I was 17, I got the Queen's Guide Award after being in Girl Guiding New Zealand for 11 years. So I'd been in it since I was 6. So the Queen's Guide Award is the highest achievement you can get without becoming a leader. And yeah, I got it when I was 17. I was very proud of that. It's a document, and I can't remember if mine, because it was around the time, it's called the Queen's Guide Award, but it was like, I had gotten it awarded right after the Queen had passed away. So we weren't sure who was signing the document or if it was even still going to be called the Queen's Guide Award or if they were going to start calling it the King's Guide Award. We weren't sure. And honestly, I can't quite remember who actually signed the certificate that I've got for it. I should probably look at that. But yeah, the Governor-General signed it, and it was presented by the Governor-General, and I went up to Wellington for a few days because I think it worked out to just be cheaper to stay a few days than cheaper and easier. No, it wasn't cheaper. I'm thinking about it now. It definitely wasn't cheaper. But if I were to just fly in for the ceremony, it would have been getting up at 4 a.m. and not getting home until like midnight. And I was going with my mum because my mum like supported me throughout that whole journey to get the Queen's Guide Award. So she didn't want to do that. She was also paying for it because I was still living at home and everything. But we went up for a few days. We did some fun stuff while we were up there. I got the award. It was very, very cool. Very proud of that. Probably my biggest achievement to date is getting that Queen's Guide Award. Pretty soon I'll be finishing my Polytech course, though, which will be my first tertiary education thing. I can't remember. I think I'll be part of the September graduation, which will be cool. But apparently business studies, I don't know if you wear robes for the Polytech graduations, but apparently business, you're supposed to wear, like, scarlet robes. But I was thinking, like, because I know robes are, like, super expensive, graduation robes, and I know how to use a sewing machine. Like, what's stopping me from just getting a few meters of this cheap scarlet fabric and putting, like, a heavy lining on it and being done with it, you know? Like, I don't know, thinking about doing that. I don't even know if they're expecting us to wear robes. Yeah. What's your Enneagram number? What is that? Enneagram number. 3 online tests. I don't want to do that. What? Online? Oh, is it like a personality test? What is an Enneagram? I don't know. What's your favorite comfort food? I don't really have a comfort food. I will eat anything that tastes good. I do just love food. Best food is the food that you don't have to cook yourself. Boom. Done. Any adult will agree with me on that one. The best food that you don't have to cook. Right. Well, we're sort of getting to the end of our 26 minutes, or 25 or so minutes. So I might call it there. So have a great couple of weeks, guys. Just a reminder, we do have the Instagram account, diversity.dispatch at Instagram. Flick me a message on there if you want me to talk about something specific or you've got something to say that you want put on live radio. Well, it's not live, it's pre-recorded, but something you want on radio. I will be screening everything, so just keep that in mind. But we'll see you in a couple weeks. All right, bye guys. Thanks for listening. Diversity Dispatch is a fortnightly show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Tune in next time on oar.org.nz or wherever you listen to your podcasts for more queer and diverse content. Over and out.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.